Caroline wants to have the largest collection of cow memorabilia in the world.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's my aim.
And I think and anyone who's actually been past her office knows that it's a shrine to all things bovine and so forth. And I thought it'd be interesting to find out why, why Carol, why cows, why are you so interested in cows? And that's what you'll be talking about now.
Yep.
So away you go, Carol.
Okay, so I'm Carol, and I'll just start off with a video of my entire collection. By me talking about my collection to tell you I have 3,340 cows does not say anything. You need to see it for you to actually believe it. So here's a video of my collection. I will start the presentation with a little bit of fun facts about cows, because the topic of today's presentation is about Vaccaphilia. I never even knew about the existence of this word. That was what John came up with. Yeah, so John made it up. And when you look up what Vaccaphilia means, is vaca is cow in Spanish, and philia is love.
Latin.
Yeah. Okay, so vaca is also, V-A-C-A is cow in Spanish. So love of cows, cow culture, and other animal metaphors. I don't know what other animal metaphors we're going to talk about. But basically, how I would relate this is that this has actually become my passion to the extent where I'm going shopping for cows all the time. Okay, so I have this really strong cow da, which I will talk to you about later on, and how my travels and everything that I do is surrounding the metaphor of a cow. Why a cow? As John was asking me previously, I have no idea. It just dawned upon me one day like, hey, I like cows. Okay, so it's very, very strange, I don't know what the human psychology behind this actually is. So let's start with giving you a few fun facts about cows. I don't have to read this, so you guys can have a look at what is the lifespan of a cow. It's basically about 25 years, but cows are actually milked for about only 3 to 4 years. They only spend 3 to 4 years of their life being milked. They do not actually bite the grass, so they don't bite grass, whereas they use their tongues to actually pull the grass into their mouth. They also have almost 360 degrees panoramic vision. So you imagine, even though the cow's eyes are here, they can still see the back of their head. Almost 360 degrees. Do you know why? Why do you think?
Predators.
Exactly, predators. So, they might think someone is going to attack them from the back. So that's why they have almost 360 panoramic vision. Another fun fact is that cows only can go upstairs. They can only walk up, but they cannot walk down. Okay? Even if you train them, you cannot get them to walk downstairs. So what happens if you walk a cow upstairs and they're on the second floor? What will happen? It stays there, exactly. And what has happened was, there was this kid who brought a cow to school. Okay, so he was for fun, he wanted to bring a cow to school, and the high school had an upstairs. So he lured the cow upstairs and it stayed there. And after that, what had happened was they had to call a helicopter to come, and they had to actually cut the roof out to get the cow out of the school. Okay, and this is a true story. So some extra fun facts for you, that cows don't actually walk down the stairs. So if you ever think you want to bring a cow somewhere, bring them to a single level place. Okay, so they produce about 30 liters of milk a day. Okay, so that's quite a lot of milk. And one dairy cow can actually provide jobs for 4 people. Okay, so the dairy industry, or the cow industry, whatever you want to call it, is actually very, very big in Australia. It's one of our major exports. Okay, and you notice that this is a, do you know what breed this is actually called?
Frisian.
Frisian, yep. Okay, so Holstein Frisian cows. Do you know where they are from?
Holland.
Yes, very good. So you know your cow facts.
Because they come from Friesland. That's the name of the...
Okay, very good. Yes, so it's originally from the Netherlands, but now most of the cow breeds actually come from the US. And their spots are equivalent to our fingerprints. So not every single cow has the exact same print. Okay? And another interesting fact is that cows actually have best friends. Okay? The reason why we know this is because there was this lady who did a PhD, and she was investigating how to increase productivity of milk. Okay? And what she found was that they ran an experiment where they had cows that were separated from their best friends, and one where they put a cow together with another cow that cow does not know, and they put a cow that was alone. And what they did was they measured the cortisol levels and their heartbeat of the cows at different types of intervals, and they found that the cows that spent a lot of time with their best friend actually produced a lot more milk compared to the others. So the implications for this for farmers is that you really have to treat your cows well by putting them with other cows that are,
Now they have one more best friend.
That's actually very interesting because there's a person in America called Temple Grandin.
Yes.
And she's like a livestock expert, and she's also a sufferer of autism.
Yes.
And I think she kind of came up with the same conclusion that the people in abattoirs, for example, kind of put their cattle in very stressful situations.
Yeah. Have you guys heard of Temple Grandin?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you have not watched the movie,
With Claire Danes.
yes, Claire Danes. Very, very good show. It really talks to you. It really shows how cows actually, how they know that they're going into a slaughterhouse and all that kind of stuff.
In fact, like she wrote several books, and in one of the books she actually says that perhaps cattle actually have formed autism.
Yeah.
And I think she was also speculating that perhaps when people actually write computer programs, for example, they're actually autistic entities as well.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
way.
And there was, what do you say?
She asked about the temples, the
Temple Grandin. She was a researcher who suffered from autism. Yeah. Okay, and there was I'll just give you another example. Like, how dairy farmers sometimes they really take it to the extreme, where there was this owner of an organic dairy farm in Oregon, and he has 165 cows. He knows all their names. He walks among them, he pets them, and he plays music when he milks them. Okay, just to make them feel as though that they are eased. Okay, so yes, another fun fact if you guys, yes?
Does happy cow make better milk?
That's what they claim, I don't know. Do you think happy cows make better milk?
Yeah.
Oh, it's true.
Because happy cow,
There's a research.
it's not cruelty, that's all.
Yeah.
It's non-cruelty.
Yeah, it's just non-cruel.
Like free range.
Like free range. I was reading about these bunch of chickens. So there was this lady who reared chickens, and she was complaining why didn't her chickens lay eggs in the winter. Whereas there was another lady who allowed her chickens to roam free, and throughout winter they kept on laying eggs. And it's because the other lady kept the chicken in the cages and didn't allow them to roam free. So I guess animal welfare and happiness actually impacts their productivity.
And PhD students too.
Yes, and PhD students as well. Okay, so cows in popular culture, I'll just be going through a number of different scenarios as to what we use cows for in our daily lives. And I'm sure, apart from like this kind of memorabilia, which I use all the time, we've got leather, you guys drink milk, butter, and all the other, even things like bone china. Did you know there's actually cow in bone china? Cow bones, yes, cow bones in bone china. Okay, in dairy cows, do you know when was the first time a cow actually landed in Australia? Wild guess.
183 something.
You're very, very close, because in 1832,
The settler.
yeah, this guy who brought the 2 cows and 2 calves to Melbourne. But even before that, the first set of cows, which is actually 2 cows and 7 cows and 2 bulls, they arrived in New South Wales. Yeah, so they arrived in New South Wales, and then after that, they ran away. And then they were relocated to Parramatta, and they ran away into the bush. And then they were only captured 7 years later, and after 7 years, those 7 cows became 61 cattle. Okay, and then in 1850, In Victoria itself, there were 347,000 cattle. Okay, so you can actually see. I mean, you just cannot imagine. There are many, many cattle breeds. As I said previously, you've got the Holstein Friesian. The reason why this is the most popular is because it has the most productivity in terms of milk. As I said previously, 3 to 4 years they are actually milked, and within 12 to 24 hours, when a mother cow actually gives birth, it is weaned from the mother straight away within 12 to 24 hours. Okay, I don't think that's a really good thing, but that's all about the dairy industry, which I'm not going to get into. Okay, how many of you have actually had Wagyu beef? How does it taste?
Yummy.
Really? Okay. Do you know that Wagyu cattle, where's the origin from? Japan. Yeah. But the Wagyu were originally drought animals, and they were actually bred to withstand really, really harsh conditions. And they've actually crossed the Wagyu with other types of cattle as well from the US and the UK. Okay, the reason why that this cattle is so good is because of its marble texture, and also that its value. Can you guess the value of one carcass? Okay, I'll give you an example of another type of cow, the Angus. The Angus is about $2,500.
Why don't you go by how much it would cost for 1 kilo of Wagyu?
But see, the problem with Wagyu, right, is that it kind of became trendy.
Yes.
And even Subway was offering Wagyu on their
Really?
on their baguettes, and then people were saying, how can this really be Wagyu? Considering if
it's
it's
so
authentic, it's so
expensive,
expensive.
Yeah.
And normally if I have Wagyu, I go to Rockpool, right? And the people at Rockpool tell me that Wagyu meat is actually less like beef and more like salmon.
Wow.
Because it's textured in such a way, and the fat is marble and contains omega-3 fats, which are actually found in fish. So I'm thinking that the Japanese, I don't know how they actually got the omega-3s into the Wagyu gene pool.
Okay, well, yes, $50,000.
No, not so expensive. It's just double the price of a. It's just double the price of a Angus carcass. It's about $2,500.
Right.
Not 2,500, sorry. 5,000. Sorry, $5,000 for one carcass of a Wagyu cattle. In Japan, in Tokyo itself, when you go outside and you order a piece of Wagyu, it could cost you $250. Just for one piece, which is like about 300 grams.
But then they also have Kobe beef.
Yes,
the
Kobe
is
beef.
actually more expensive.
Similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Kobe beef is also one of those more expensive
But
cows.
don't the Japanese feed them with like sake and
Yeah.
give them...
And then they massage them.
Yeah.
They
You
get
know,
them
they
dry.
massage. Yeah, definitely.
Give them massage, that's why you get the marble
Oh
in
yeah,
there.
I heard that because
Yeah.
there's a famous restaurant on Ridge Road called Vlado's, right?
Yeah.
And apparently it makes the best steaks in Melbourne, right?
Wow.
And the rumour was always that they kept live cattle in the back, and they would massage it and then slaughter it on the premises. I don't know if it's true. No. It was just a rumour, right? Yeah. I've never been to Vlado's myself.
Yeah. Okay, so in other cultures like in Indonesia, they use buffaloes for rice planting. They are actually seen to be more resilient compared to horses. Okay, so they can actually pull much longer and they are stronger. This was quite a while ago. Now I don't know whether they actually use buffalo. Do they still use buffaloes?
Yeah, they still...
Okay. Have you seen this before? Have you heard of mud cow racing? Have you heard of it? Yeah? Do you know the purpose of this? So basically what happens is this guy, he is standing behind them and he is standing on a piece of wood. And what he's holding on is to their tails. So the harder he pulls their tails, the faster the cows are going to run. And the reason why they do this is not so much for tourism, which is one of the reasons, but it's really to actually demonstrate the strength of their bulls to possible purchasers in the future who actually want to actually buy these bulls. Then after they have this session, they are cleaned up and they are auctioned at display pens. Every year there are about 700 cows who actually participate in this. Do you know where this is popular?
Flemington? Sorry.
Where? Not Philippines, not Mongolia.
Indonesia.
Indonesia. Jakarta. Okay, so that's where mud cow racing is actually popular. I don't think it's very good for the cow.
Can you ride a cow like a horse?
You can ride a cow like a horse?
Yeah.
Yes, you can. Yeah. Has anyone here tried riding cows before?
Yeah, I've tried. The one about follow.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
So you sit on top of?
On top, yeah, near the head.
Yes, yeah. And
So
how?
didn't it try to throw you off?
Yeah, they are just saying, I mean, some of my friends back home, when we were young, we
Oh.
ride it. Some of them, they fell down, but because we are using that for rice plantation,
Oh.
huge.
Wow. Okay, interesting. Okay, another popular use of cows. Do you know what that is?
Cow dung.
Cow dung. Yes, and what is it used for? Yeah, bricks, exactly. So this is in Africa, where they use the cow dung to actually make the roofing. But what has happened was the one on the right, those are actual bricks. And this was actually created in 2009 based on this entrepreneurial or entrepreneurship students who actually went to this, maybe they're not entrepreneurship students, but they were presenting at a global competition in 2009 where they won this competition. The bricks are actually made out of 75% cow manure. Okay, it's 20% lighter than normal bricks, and it's also 20% stronger than clay bricks. What this actually helps, it actually helps farmers to actually increase their income by at least 53%. And it helps with the CO2 emissions from the traditional clay bricks. And what they really need to do is they need to educate the people who used to be making clay bricks into how they manufacture bricks made out of cow dung. Okay, so this is really a recent type of innovation.
But then again, cows themselves give off a lot of methane. That
Yes.
is actually deleterious to the environment.
Yes.
So I wouldn't actually advise everybody to go out and use cow dung to build their houses.
Yeah, but I mean, you know what? Cow dung is going to be everywhere in the street anyway. So it's just a matter of cleaning it up. Yeah, it's also a hygiene issue.
India, they use that a lot in India.
Huh. To build bricks?
Yeah,
Don't they also use it on the floor as well?
floor and then for fire.
Yes.
Yeah. I heard it's a
They
very,
dry it, they pack.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just the fact that it's fuel.
Yeah, exactly. It's really a source of energy. Yeah, which brings me to the next point, where we think about the cow, or Indians think of the cow as something that is very, very holy or sacred. Most rural Indian families actually have one cow, and the reason why they have that is one, to provide milk for the kids, two, it's a source of energy, and you know you can make all sorts of things like milk and curd and ghee and all sorts of other types of and urine, even cow urine is useful. What do you guys use urine
It's
for?
like during auspicious time or before you actually go into a new house or something, it's splashed all over the house. It has the entity to kill something, I don't know, but I don't know. That's the belief system, it's a belief system.
Only for special cows?
No, it's
Any
a
cow?
Female cow.
Wow. And so they splash urine all over the house,
It's
outside
not
or
a
inside?
lot, it's just sprinkled, sprinkled.
So like in
house.
church, how you know holy water they
yeah,
sprinkle.
yeah.
It's like they're very holy, and they walk a cow in and out of the house on the day they're doing the prayer.
Wow.
But not these days much, but in India it still happens. But in Malaysia, like the Indian family don't do it, but if they can get that urine and stash, that's
They
fine.
used to use in Roman times cow and human urine to bleach woolen tokens. It was actually part of the laundering process.
Wow. Okay, interesting. Okay. You know, in India they also have this thing called like a cow holiday, where the cows are washed and decorated in the temple and they are given offerings. Have you seen those cows that are decorated with really fancy stuff on their head and their body and all that kind of stuff? So yes, in the Indian culture, the cow is actually quite important. Even before, in the Chinese culture, in ancient China, the Han Chinese, what they actually did was that they really respect the cow because it gives out a lot of, they're used for farming and they're really well respected. And the emperors at that time also banned the use of making beef. Yeah, so this was a long time ago. Now everybody eats beef. Yeah. Okay, so have you guys heard of the moving art in Shepparton? No? Okay, so anyway, do you know where Shepparton is? Yes, okay, a couple hours drive from Melbourne. I personally have never been there, but I do want to go there because obviously it's cow related and it's a unique, changing public art display. That's what it is. So if you go to this destination, if you drive here and there, like at their parks by the river and by their town council and whatnot, there are cows in all sorts of different types of positions. The reason why is because they have a very, very strong dairy industry there. Yeah, so it's one of their major exports. It's the largest percentage of dairy exports in Greater Shepparton. This is Cow Parade. Have you heard of Cow Parade? Yep, okay, some of you have. Cow Parade is the largest and most successful public art event in the world. What they do is that every year the cows actually travel. They have a blank canvas and they invite artists who maybe one day you might want to paint on this cow. They invite artists who are professionals, not professionals, just anybody young and old to actually paint on these cows. And at the end of the day, they auction the cows off. Okay, the most expensive cow that they have ever made was a cow that was $146,000.
Is it in Australia?
It was in Australia in 2010.
Oh.
Yeah, in 2012 it was in North Carolina. It's a moving art. It's a moving art display, and every year they have blank canvases where they invite people to actually go and paint on this cow. So the reason why it was $146,000, and this was in Dublin in 2003, it is because it had thousands of Waterford crystals. Okay, so
Is
yes.
it sort of like somebody like Damien Hirst or some famous person?
I can't remember who, but yes, I would think it's some sort of famous person. But all this goes to charity.
Oh,
In India,
Yeah.
they have this harvest festival in South India.
Yeah.
It happens in January.
Mhm.
And they dedicate one day to just appreciate the cow because they use it for farming and it's very sacred.
Yeah.
They will decorate the cow
Yeah.
and do puja, like do prayer for the cow, and they decorate, paint.
Wow. And then do they get rid of the paint after the day?
Yeah, it's just a culture. It happens till today. It's like
And it's
amazing. the
also,
way
it happens back in Sabah as well, one state in Malaysia, but it's not cow, they're using water buffalo.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're decorated, I don't know which month of in a year.
Harvest, I think it's during the harvest.
No, it's not. Because Harvest Festival is in May, usually, but this water buffalo, they will decorate it and make parade, and they will even call as cowboy of what them? I'm not sure. Like something like cowboy.
Yeah, cowboy
Yeah.
tradition like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But with cow, not horse.
Yeah. You must tell me when it is so I can actually go and visit
Yeah.
Sabah.
Oh, please. Please come.
Yeah, but famous designers who have actually designed these cows are like Vivienne Westwood, Christian Lacroix, Fiorucci, Kate Spade. They have designed this, and people who have bought, some famous people who have bought these are people like Ringo Starr. Do you know who Ringo Starr is? Yeah, Elton John, Oprah Winfrey, they also own these cows.
You should start saving up, Carol.
Come again?
You should start saving to buy one.
No, I don't think I can ever afford a cow like this. Even like an unpainted cow, like just a black and white cow, is about $1,500, and I don't have the heart to go and spend on those kind of things. Okay, so this is related to my work. So we are talking about my passions and how I've actually brought the cow into my teaching and in the way I actually teach entrepreneurship. Have you guys, any one of you heard of this book called The Purple Cow? No? Yes, you have heard, one person has heard. Yep, have you heard about it? Yep, okay, so this guy, his name is Seth Godin, and he is known as like the marketing guru. Okay, he's not academic, He is very, very practical, and he wrote this book called The Purple Cow. And what he said was that one day he was driving down a highway in France. And in France, it's very, very beautiful. And he was driving through a picture-perfect scenario on the left and right when he was driving down the highway. Okay, so lovely pastures, and then after that, as he kept on driving, and they all kept gazing out the window and marveling at all this beauty there. But as you keep on driving and you see more black and white cows, how do you actually feel? When you keep on seeing the same thing over and over again. Boring, exactly. So he said that it became boring. Even though the cow could be nice, it could be lit up, you could do all sorts of things to the cow, you could put them on a pedestal and whatnot, but they're still the black and white cow, and they're still extremely boring. But then what if you saw a purple cow in the farm? How would you feel?
You don't see the picture,
Okay, so the analogy behind this is that if you saw a purple cow, you're like, wow, that would actually make you stop. And seeing a purple cow, you need to be remarkable in what that you actually do. Something remarkable is worth talking about. You actually want to pay attention to that purple cow. Because boring stuff, it becomes invisible straight away. The black and white cow has become invisible. So in business, what do you need to be? You need to be the purple cow in the field of monochrome Holsteins. Yes? And you can't be outstanding or remarkable by following a leader. You yourself actually needs to be that leader. And I've taken this analogy and I'm thinking about it in the university setting as well. Every year we have more than 5,000 graduates finishing a degree. How can you actually stand out when all of you have the same degree? Okay? So I tell my students, you need to be the purple cow when you graduate. Yeah, especially like for example in management, how do you tell the difference between this student and that student unless you're a purple cow? Yeah, okay. So I'll show you the example that I have done and I put this to practice is that logo on the right. That logo on the right is actually a small little pop-up business that I started in 2012 where I was actually frying noodles on the street. And when I told my friend I want to come up with a logo that is a cow that is frying noodles. Okay, so that's what this person actually came up with. And the weapon for this cow is actually chopsticks. Yeah, so I literally took purple cow. If it was a black and white cow, people were like, okay, that's cute, but you wouldn't actually remember it. So when you are creating a brand for any business, so we're talking about from an entrepreneurship standpoint, one, you need to have a story behind it. How is that story related to you as a person? When you're able to sell your story to people, people are actually going to believe you, and then they feel more affinity towards your brand. So whenever you're trying to think of something, how are you going to be outstanding in business, you need to think what is the brand story behind it, and it has to be related to you. One, you cannot be motivated by money to actually start this business. Your passions will actually shine through. I mean, I guess you can see that. You can feel or see the passions literally on me. Okay, so that's just an example of how it is used in marketing. So that's an example of my front of my stall.
Did you tell Cisco about this?
So did you guys learn anything from that? What was the most important point stated in the video?
Be different.
Be different. Okay, what else?
Appreciate your employees.
Appreciate your employees, exactly. Because from my research, what I have found was that in fast growth businesses, one of the most important resources for the business is their staff, ensuring that they are actually happy and providing them recognition. It's not about the money, but it's really just giving them a pat on the back and saying that, you know what, you did a really, really good job. So that's the reason why we gave them certificates at the end of the experiment.
Networking too.
Pardon? Networking, exactly. Because as an entrepreneur, you don't have the big resources that the large organizations have. And so what you're going to do is leverage all your networks with someone who knows someone, who can get someone. And that's how all entrepreneurs actually start off, where they don't really know. It's not so much about what you know, but it's who you know. In that particular industry. Okay, and you really have to go out there and network and talk to people. If you're a lone ranger, you will never succeed in business. Okay, you always need people to surround you. Okay, so this is just going to be another short video on how I actually counted the cows. Okay, it's really, really short. It's just a half an hour snippet of, but it's into 30 seconds or a minute, into what we were doing. Entering information into a spreadsheet and actually counting each cow individually. If you guys wanna, I'll just pass it around if you guys haven't seen this before. Yeah. So before it came out in the papers, it was this lady whom I saw in New South Wales who collected 800 cows. And when I saw 800 cows, like, oh my goodness, you guys are you are nothing compared to what I have. This is like a walk in the park. So we contacted that editor, yes?
I just have an idea. Why don't you, because you photographed everything, why don't you publish it? I mean, because, you know, I've seen catalogues of, you know, McDonald's memorabilia, and basically it's just pictures with annotations. I mean, how many items do you have?
3,200 and something.
That's enough for a volume, right?
Okay.
You publish
That's
it,
your
yeah.
website, Mumula.
Yeah,
Mumula.
Mumula. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, yes, that's an idea. So we contacted, or my colleague contacted this editor or writer, and she said that she doesn't live in our area, does she? As in, I don't live in that area. Then after that, he contacted our local council, and the local council reporter and a photographer came to my house and spent an hour in my house, interviewing me and then coming up with this newspaper article. The day that the newspaper article came out, which is the local Monash Council, immediately I received an email from Sunrise on Channel 7 and the Today Show. Okay, immediately. And I got a call from the radio station called 3AW, and I was interviewed within an hour of this newspaper article coming out. So you can imagine how much media attention this collection, which by the way, this is a cookie jar, and this is another toy. And this, I wanted to show you that this is supposed to be a stress cow where you press and the eyes actually
So cute.
go like that. But I don't get stressed very often, so I don't play with this cow. Yeah, so just from a small collection, and it actually got on national TV. And I've got people emailing me from all over Australia and even from the world who find my Facebook page and they just message me and they tell me how they love my collection and they share cows with me, they post it to my house, and
They promised to paint cows.
yeah, and she has promised to paint a cow for me. So, you know what I mean? You just get people who want to pass it forward, even though I'm nobody to them and I'm a complete stranger. They feel as though they want to share the love, which is quite interesting. Anyway, I'll just end the presentation by showing you the Channel 9 segment that was on at 7:45 in the morning. My friends have seen this. Have you guys seen this before? Yeah, okay, some of my friends have seen it, but I'll just show it to you. And take note for the jokes in the end, because that's the most interesting
Are
part.
you using?
What cow came after the cow thing?
Yes.
Not before. You never had any exposure of
Never.
any knowledge more than what.
No, I don't really have any knowledge.
It's not just the things you learned about them and everything.
Yeah. So I started reading up about cows and all that kind of
But it's
stuff.
particularly Frisian.
It's
isn't it?
particularly the
It's
Frisian.
that pattern that
Yes, it's the black and white spots. When I see a brown cow, I'm like, man, it's a brown cow. But it's just more the black and white cows. Or even the Highland cows are quite pretty, you know, the ones with really long hair or anything. So yes, and I have a website. It's called mumula.com, and the reason behind mumula is because mu is obviously the cow, mula is money, and lah is Malaysian. So it's like my heritage and the cow, and yeah.